think our biggest opportunity is to stop viewing crypto as a way to make money and start viewing it as a way to use money appropriately.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Capital Allocation channel. So today, before I give you the crypto market update, I want to set the context for what we're looking at here. So what you're looking at is the Federal Reserve balance sheet. So as you can see, back in September 2019, there was an issue. The Fed had to reverse this tightening, and I find it very suspicious that there happened to be a perfectly timed crisis that allowed them an excuse for what they would have had to do anyway to prevent the system from completely collapsing. But anyway, that's a whole nother story altogether. If you look at what they've been doing recently, they're continuing to expand their balance sheet. They are talking about actually rolling off some of this debt, but that is impossible. There's no way anyone would want to buy this negative yielding debt that they're holding. And basically, I think they're trying to buy time and find any excuse to continue expanding. If you look at the current inflation, I like to use shadowstats.com. I'll put the link in the description below. We're basically here at an all-time high inflation. If you look at how it was calculated back in 1980, we're here at above 15% inflation. And that is in the context of record low money velocity. So basically they killed the system in 2008. All this quantitative easing was supposed to save the economy. We essentially had a fake recovery. And look at this. This is a joke. This was our recession. This tiny little blip here. Does this look like we're out of the recession? Look at the velocity of money here. So we're in a situation where we have all-time record low money velocity with record high inflation. If this money velocity is allowed to pick up, if people are allowed to come out of lockdown, if the lending starts to increase again, this is likely to increase inflation even further. So this is a huge risk here, and this is one reason why cryptos are so important. If not cryptos, gold, cash, even real estate, commodities, things of that nature are so important going in the future. So I'll discuss those in future videos, but to get to these cryptos, just looking at the charts, and by the way, what I'm going through now is simply the short term, maybe the next few weeks, what I'm seeing here, and things can change overnight. So obviously never make a trade based on anything I'm saying. Always do your own research and be sure you know what you're getting into before taking any trades here. In the long term, you know, the sky's the limit. And in many countries like Venezuela, Zimbabwe, that are holding cryptos, people that are holding cryptos are being completely saved while their currencies are just collapsing. So it also depends on where you're at in the world. Like I said, we have a very high inflation rate, but I think it's unlikely we're going to reach hyperinflationary type of pressures. I think it will just be a sustained high inflation over time that will try to be hidden in many ways. So long term, I have a very positive outlook and in cryptos in general, but not any crypto in specific. So I can't predict which crypto will do well, but I think there are cryptos in this space that will do very well over time. But in the short term, if you go back and you look, I think this massive bull run in cryptos was really started by this huge push here, this exponential rise. I mean, I think that's what drove people into cryptos. But now we're in a more sustained phase of this expansion, and that is in the context where people are losing jobs. The money velocity is at all-time lows. So I think the inflation will be sustained, but it won't be, I suspect it won't be like what we've seen, complete revaluation like what we've seen in the last year. But I could always be wrong. You never know. How crazy are these people? So, but in this context, it looks like because we're not getting that huge expansion, we are getting a pullback in the markets, and this could continue over time. So looking at Bitcoin here, the TradingView technical indicator has a sell. We are in a downtrend. I like to use the Ichimoku cloud. And essentially, when you have this red cloud, that is a resistance level. So we're riding this resistance level down now. We don't really have any change in volume. And until I see some reversal, either volume, strong green candles, or something rising above a previous support, this is in a downtrend currently. So we're sitting at 43,000. Ethereum, I find really interesting. We are still in a downtrend. There still is a sell on the TradingView technical indicator. And again, similar with Bitcoin, we've got this red cloud. So we are in a downtrend here. One interesting fact is, if you look, the Rothschild Investment Corporation is actually buying Ethereum Grayscale Trust. So I find this interesting. Ethereum is used in a lot of projects. You can now stake it and get a 5% interest. So I just find this very interesting. If you're looking at this, I would follow and see if they're buying or selling, specifically Rothschild Investment Corp. So that's one thing to follow. Another thing, XRP, so Ripple. Here we still have a sell. The chart is not as weak. So here we're having a crossover on the MACD. This red cloud is much smaller. And so it looks like we're more in a range here. But we are still in a downtrend. We still do have a sell. But anyway, this is one to watch. And why I think this is one to watch, the World Economic Forum is actually partnered with Ripple. So I do believe they will win this lawsuit. Now, whether it goes up after that remains to be determined. But I do find this very interesting that they're partnered with the World Economic Forum. Polkadot, this is another one, a larger cap crypto. This is more neutral, although I would suggest this chart still looks very weak here. There's no strong volume coming in. We have this red cloud, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this rolling over and trying to find a bottom somewhere. All right, now into the privacy coins. This is very interesting here. Monero has a buy, okay? This is one of the only coins, and specifically privacy coins, that I'm seeing with the buy. We have these large green candles, and it looks like we could be forming a twist here. So I would watch this level here around 180. That seems to be a strong support. And we do have resistance up here around 240. So this is one to watch, and this could have potential upside. So this is a very interesting one here, especially in the context where the other cryptos are going down. Monero seems to be having a large degree of relative strength here, so quite interesting. Pirate Chain, all right. I hate to say it, but this thing basically had a violent kind of exponential move down, followed by a retracement. This retracement has subsequently failed, though, and now we're testing this support level. You can see here there's no volume coming in. We have some green candles, but this appears like the green candles are rolling over. The TradingView technical indicator has a sell. If we break down below this level, below 80 cents, this thing's, yeah, well, it doesn't look good. And if you look consistently, this is riding this red cloud. So I like to look at longer term trends, and there is no suggestion that this thing is turning around here. It's simply riding this cloud all the way down. So this is a very weak attempt to hold this support. You know, you can never tell what's going to happen, but it looks like this could very well break down and continue lower. I would not be surprised one bit. So be careful with Pirate. If you see some volume coming in, something like this, you know, that could happen anytime. And so that would be a potential signal for an entry point, but you have to be very careful. These things can fail very quickly, and we are in a downtrend, so it's definitely riskier to trade against the trend. So it would be a very risky move to take an entry and think that you're going to time the bottom. That is very difficult to do, so you have to be very careful with something like this. Dero, okay. Yeah, I called the top on this one back several months ago. This thing had just gone up so much. The momentum was slowing. I found it hard to believe that it could continue going higher. Now we're riding this cloud down. We do have some volume coming in, though, and a crossover on the MACD, but often this MACD gives false signals here. You can see we had a crossover here, and we did get a spike. I mean, this was a tradable pattern, but it wasn't a reversal, and you would have gotten hit when this thing rolled back over, all right? I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that again. We have a crossover here. This cloud is a strong resistance level. I think this thing has gone up so much, it has a huge amount to fall, you know, possibly to fall. And that doesn't mean that the fundamentals aren't good and that this project can't be successful. But it's just the amount of money flowing into it and where the project is right now as far as what is it actually doing. There are several support levels we could see come into play here. Somewhere around $6, then around $2.70, $3, something like that. We're in a downtrend. I mean, until we see something reversing here, there's no suggestion that we're going higher here. So, and again, like I said, this is in a context where people rush into crypto due to a ridiculous monetary policy. And although the monetary policy is still ridiculous, it's less ridiculous than it was. So, you know, people are losing jobs. The economy isn't really recovering, in my opinion, like they're saying it is. And I've noticed looking at real estate lately, it is going really, really quickly. I think people are putting their money into real estate and trying to get out of paper and digital assets, that type of thing. Money's kind of flowing around and trying to find a home. And so that's one thing to watch. I like to look at all these markets and look at where the cash is flowing across markets. And one place that I see is pretty insane as well is real estate. And I think that could continue into the future as we may see the stock market going up, but the value of the dollar may be falling faster than the market is going up. So although you can perceive that you're making money, your stocks, your portfolio could be going up while you're actually losing purchasing power. And I think that's a trick they like to play to psychologically keep people happy. Well, really through the back door, you're getting screwed. So there are a few Mimble coins. These ones use a specific algorithm. This is Epic Cash. This one, the wallet, I wasn't too impressed with, but anytime I say something negative, I get a lot of comments that people say there are good things happening, and so I think you can't disregard that. When there's so many people supporting the community, I think the perception of the project can really change the fundamentals of the project and can really support the project in that case. But the chart, pretty typical here. I don't even know if I would call this a potential head and shoulders. It's just so violent. But if you could consider this a head and shoulders, the neckline would be down here. This is basically the support level around 28 cents, something like that. And this could be the formation of a right shoulder. I don't see this recovering and spiking up back above this level. This retracement is just too deep. I think the attempt to go higher was really here, back here. That failed, and failed very quickly. And I think you could definitely see this project going lower for the meantime, but it's still tradable. It's just dangerous. Once you're going against a trend like this, it's pretty risky here. One project that I do like as far as the Mimble goes, Grin has a decent wallet, actually. This thing, it's a little more stable, and one comment I wanted to make, like, if you look at what John McAfee was saying, you know, cryptos need to be used, and when they're this volatile, it's really hard to use them as a currency. So I know many people want to make money, including myself, and I trade cryptos for sure because it's just so absurd. There's so many opportunities and people are doing stupid things, and it's hard not to take advantage of that. I feel bad, but you know, you can't change it. It's going to happen anyway. So just protect yourself and don't be the sucker in this game here. There are a few people that are going to get rich by making good trades, and that's going to be at the expense of many people losing a lot of money in these markets. So always use extreme caution. One thing I like about Grin is the ability to mine this thing. So I think one area I'm looking into that's a little bit safer is setting up mining rigs. In that case, you're not risking trading profits. You can just simply set up your miners. I recently got a helium miner. I think it's horrible for privacy. I think it's probably stealing your data through your Wi-Fi. But I use it in something that isn't really being used for research or anything personal. So my personal data wouldn't be compromised from that. But helium mining, I'm making already about $100 a month, and I think there are other opportunities like that in mining where you're going to be a little safer. And I think one could be Grin, where if you just set up a miner every month, you take out your profits, convert them back into cash, and either buy other miners or buy something like Ethereum or other staking coins. That could be one strategy. So you can always look into something like that that has a little bit lower downside because you have a certain amount that you're putting into those miners. And when you get that cash out, you can just convert it back and pull cash out. One suggestion I got was to cover Litecash. This is another Mimble project. So it's pretty simple. Nothing fancy. Looks basically just like a fast currency that should be private, ASIC resistant, no founders reward. So that's interesting. Looking at the market cap here, 1.6 million. So when you see small market caps like that, these projects always have potential of going much higher. And as you can see, this thing spiked back mid-year 2021 last year. As far as a trading perspective, if you look back here, just this little spike, went from 0.004 to 0.0073. So just this tiny move here was almost a doubling. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that happen again. But, you know, we are in a downtrend here. And so this is continuing. We could definitely get another spike that's tradable, but I think the duration will be pretty quick here. And then it could go back down and we could have, you know, a series of spikes. So this is something that I think is definitely tradable and could gain traction in the long term. It does seem similar to Epic Cash and with respect to the algorithm. So we'll see if this thing becomes more popular. And if anyone knows anything about this project, please leave a comment. I'd like to hear everyone's thoughts. Ghost, this is probably my favorite small cap privacy coin. So here we have about a $5 million market cap. This thing looks like we could be reversing trend here. So again, we're seeing Bitcoin and Ethereum dropping now, but this has relative strength. It's not dropping along with the market. It's doing its own thing. So I like to see that. We have this downtrend here and this V bottom. So it's interesting here. Will this be a support level? That remains to be seen. And again, this thing has a 27% interest rate on the staking, and the wallet looks really good. So even if this thing drops, if you're staking your coins, this thing would have to drop 30% for you to actually be down. So that's an advantage with something like this, that there's a little bit more limited downside because of that staking profitability. So this is one to watch. If it breaks down below about 22 cents, I mean, it could bottom back down and try to find a support. But again, this pattern is changing here, and we could see a potential reversal. So definitely I like Ghost here. Cloak coin. So again, similar market cap to Litecash. This thing has had a series of spikes, with the latest being the smallest spike, and I actually called this really well here. So I was saying that I really liked it back in here. The thing is, this coin is extremely fast. So the transaction time was about 3 minutes and 38 seconds, whereas Monero, which is kind of the gold standard, takes about 20 minutes for the transaction to complete. Here I was saying when I saw this spike, this looked like there was a gap up with a red candle, and I was saying that's probably the top here. So yeah, we had basically almost pretty much a doubling here, and now we're heading back down to a support level. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing bottoming out somewhere again, and we could see further spikes that are tradable. But again, this is a coin, it's a little more stable here. It's not doing anything ridiculous. It's just been kind of holding around. So you could actually potentially use this for transactions with a little bit less volatility. So anyway, this is one to watch for sure. Equilibria. So here we are in a downtrend. I do think at some point this thing is going to spike. When, I do not know, but I expect we'll get a retracement here, just a natural retracement. But there are some announcements I expect in the future that this thing could spike. And I'm not saying get in now. Obviously, I'll never give investment advice where you get in. and where you get out is something that is a skill that is learned over time. But I do expect some move in this coin in the somewhat near future. Massari. So this is a super small cap coin here, less than $1 million. The reason I like this is the wallet is super clean. This thing actually looks pretty good and is very, very easy to use. And again, similar here, where even a small move here can actually be doubling your money here. So here, this bottom here is around 0.4, and it popped up to 0.74. So just this small spike is almost a doubling. So I think we're going to see something like that in the future. Whether we get bigger spikes like this, it's really hard to say, but I would not be surprised. Again, we are in a downtrend. You look at the 3-month chart, this thing's going down. So you would be trading against the trend here. I'd like to see this thing bottom out and do a clear reversal before getting in, but these are some coins I'm watching, and if you have any suggestions of other coins you think look good, or maybe there's something you think is going to move soon, please let me know and I'll definitely cover that. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.